What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are enjoying the riveting action that the Dallas Cowboys are putting forth throughout free agency. We are now officially in the new league year. That's right, the 2021 NFL league year has begun. Hope you had the champagne, the special glasses, the hats. I don't know what they're called, but the things that go when you blow, they get really annoying. It is Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. Happy St. Patrick's Day. If you're not wearing green, consider this a proverbial pinch across the digital space that we are hanging out here. Again, I'm RJ Ochoa, and we are here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, our favorite team, and how they are disappointing all of us. That's right. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you missed it, we've been recapping each day of free agency throughout the entire just thrilling process that the Cowboys, again, have been super engaged in. And honestly, that really hasn't been the case. The Dallas Cowboys have, been the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to free agency. And look, I don't know what we were all expecting, all right? We all knew better than this, all right? We all knew that this is how the Dallas Cowboys choose to operate. They don't like to spend a lot of money. They don't like to go after players in the first wave, even the second wave. We're sort of in the third wave of free agency, although there are still some legitimate players available. Certainly that is the case. But I don't know, maybe we all had hope, right? Like maybe we all just kind of believed, right? I feel like one of the angels in the Outfield, right? Is it Charlie? I don't remember the main character's name. No, JT is the younger boy. But whatever his name is, that Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays. I feel like I was convinced, just flapping my arms. Okay, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna see free agent moves made by the Dallas Cowboys, but that's not the case here. The Dallas Cowboys, just like always, chilling, sitting, relaxing, all cool, doing nothing. Although they have done some things. In fact, here's what the Dallas Cowboys have done so far in free agency. We're going to go through each of these moves in a little bit. But in case you didn't know, in case you are, maybe you were busy on Monday, busy on Tuesday, didn't get a chance to check out our video recaps. And you know what? So you don't miss a single thing, subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel so you always get access to them. We're here for you. That is our job, literally. But the Dallas Cowboys have made two additions so far as of 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on St. Patrick's Day. They have added long snapper Jake McQuaid, which means, as you can see, that they have, they've moved on from LP Ladouceur. It is a travesty. You can't really, do anything about it. It is, a really frustrating thing. Again, we'll get there in a second. What's up to Des Jackson and Jeremy Johnson, by the way. But the Cowboys also adding a swing tackle in Ty Nsekhe. That move actually, bears, some legitimate props. But the Cowboys have watched a number of players depart and actually on Wednesday made one leave. Honestly, they've let Cam Erving go, headed to Carolina. Joe Thomas going to Houston. Chidobe Awuzie up to Cincinnati. Andy Dalton, formerly of Cincinnati, now going to the Chicago Bears. And Chris Jones, who was released on Wednesday. The Cowboys are bringing back a handful of players. Lots of special teams prowess hanging out in the returns category here. At wide receiver Noah Brown, wide receiver Cedric Wilson, defensive tackle Antoine Woods, and of course, ace special teamers CJ Goodwin, who is, a cornerback. Let's not totally forget about that. It is worth mentioning, by the way, that Cedric Wilson and Antoine Woods were tendered by the Cowboys, so a bit of a different situation there. But while we are here, let's all just do it. All right, give a grade. We're going to grade every move the Cowboys have made so far in free agency, and we want to know to this point, and at the end of class, I'll give you my grade as far as what I think of the free agency haul that the Dallas Cowboys have reeled in so far, almost 3 full days in. But what is your grade? And I'm talking your overall grade. You look at the whole package. What grade would you give the Dallas Cowboys for their free agency success? Casey Addison says A+++++. That is 4 pluses, by the way, with 2 eye-rolling emojis. I feel like nobody looks good when they roll their eyes, so I'm not going to try to do it myself. That's why the emoji exists. Certainly not an A+. Spoiler alert, that is not the grade that I have chosen to give them, but let us know in the comments the grade that you would give the Dallas Cowboys in terms of their, again, overall free agency. But we're going to grade each of the moves specifically. Let's start with Cam Erving. We're going to go in chronological order. By the way, Des Jackson says B-. Mike Evans. Hey, hope Tampa Bay is treating you well. Fighting Texas Aggie, by the way, gives the Cowboys a D. I'll give you another spoiler. Those are not the grades that I have for America's team. But Cam Erving headed to the Carolina Panthers. It is a 2-year, $10 million deal for Cam Erving. And look, I get it. I get it if you're a Cam Erving fan. But this is honestly the best case scenario for the Dallas Cowboys. We know that Stephen Jones and the Cowboys brass, the Cowboys brain trust, love themselves some compensatory picks. We know that. We know that they love their comp picks, all right? Now, it never made sense when we were kind of predicting free agency to consider Cam Erving as somebody who could net the Cowboys a compensatory pick in 2022. But when you give him a 2-year, $10 million deal from the Carolina Panthers, it's certainly possible. And so, honestly, I'm kind of in, a situation here where I feel like, and if you want to chime in on your grades for each move specifically, again, let us know in the comments. That is the wonderful thing about being live here. We do these live streams all the time here, by the way, on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. Let us know your grade. In fact, just to keep it organized, let us know the name. So say Cam Erving and then your grade on the move. I give this an A, honestly, and this is really an A, and it's out of the Cowboys' control. Like the Cowboys, so it's not quite like doing no work in the group project and then, getting the A that everybody else worked for, but it's kind of like when you didn't study for the test, you show up, and lo and behold, you just kind of know all the answers. The Cowboys got really lucky that Matt Rule's Carolina Panthers really value Cam Erving. And look, hopefully Cam Erving is awesome for the Carolina Panthers. But the fact that this is likely going to yield maybe like a 5th-round compensatory pick in 2022, I think that this is legitimately an A. By the way, Cody Griffith says, "What's up, RJ? What's up, Cody? Hope you're doing well." So, again, overall, Cam Erving is a Let's deal with that. Lori Haresh is joining us. What's up, Lori? Lori, one of the brighter Cowboy minds, by the way, in the whole stratosphere of Cowboys Nation, all the way from the land down under. Lori Haresh, today's MVP. I'm going to go ahead and say it. So let's keep going. Cam Erving is an A for me. Now, it's hard to give grades for interest, but the Dallas Cowboys do have some interest in different players, reportedly. And shocker here, they are players that we've talked about. So clearly, we are all geniuses here at Blogging the Boys. And look, I would love to say that to you with a straight face, but this was super obvious that the Cowboys were going to be interested in Demontae Kazee because of his history with Dan Quinn, because of his history with Joe Witt Jr. It just made all the sense in the world, especially given the Cowboys' depth, or really lack of depth at the cornerback position in the secondary as a whole. Look, I mean, he's got some position flexibility, can play corner, can play safety, and so I'm not going to really give this a grade, but if I had to give it a grade, I mean, I guess I give it like a B- to be interested, because this is, and maybe it's like a C plus B-. I mean, because it is like bordering on doing the bare minimum, right? Like, I guess we got to sign somebody, let's just sign Dan. Who do you know, right? Like, who have you worked with before, Dan? Let us know, and I guess we'll move on. We'll check those guys out. I guess Jeremy Johnson says, "Breathe, Cowboys Nation. It'll be okay." I hope so, Jeremy. I hope you are right. But people are panicked right now. Let's move on. Because, again, it's hard to grade interest. If this move happens, maybe we're talking a legitimate grade. But right now, it's like you're telling me, well, I'm going to write my term paper on this subject. It's not even the time for the midterm yet. Right? It's the first 6 weeks. Are they still 6 weeks of school? Or is it quarters now? Like, I don't know how it works anymore. But either way, the Dallas Cowboys did bring Noah Brown back. All right, Noah Brown is back with the Dallas Cowboys. The 85 Hive lives. C+, B-, and I'm not trying to speak badly or negatively of Noah Brown, but I mean, is it like when you saw this, and this is all Monday, we're going in chronological order here, so I mean, the ride only goes up from here, but I mean, C+, B-, I mean, there's not really nothing really earth-shattering about this. This was predictable. I mean, we knew the Cowboys were going to keep their receiver depth. Obviously, Noah Brown isn't expected to be a huge part of the offense, but he can be, certainly. But, I mean, there's only so many, there's a lot of mouths to feed, really, is the main point. You've got Amari Cooper. You've got Michael Gallup. And, by the way, we've still heard no talks of the Cowboys trading Michael Gallup. Not that, that has to happen, but that was something that was at the very least an option with him entering a contract year. And you would think that if it were going to happen, it would have happened sometime, obviously, already, as the new league year, while technically only a few hours old at the time of this conversation, teams have been legally tampering since Monday afternoon. But Noah Brown back, and he's not the only Cowboys wide receiver who's back. The Dallas Cowboys on Monday placed 2 tenders. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys bringing Cedric Wilson back. Again, this is a tender, so not officially official yet. But in all likelihood, Cedric Wilson will be back with the Dallas Cowboys. So here, I mean, again, just C+, B. Jeremy Johnson says might just be focusing on special teams right now, just a guess. I agree. I mean, these are all moves to really help, the Cowboys on the special teams side of the ball, which is important. And it is nice to see the Cowboys paying attention to the special teams game when they haven't for so long. So in that capacity, I'll bump this one up to a B+. And it's really kind of Cedric Wilson. Plus, you get a backup quarterback in Cedric Wilson lest we forget that he threw a touchdown last season to Dak Prescott. So that's an important thing. By the way, Mark Hoover makes an important point here that Dak Prescott was technically a free agent signing, speaking of Cedric Wilson throwing touchdowns. So, from that perspective, if you want to count Dak, this grade goes, significantly higher. But for the purposes of the conversation, we're not going to count Dak because had the Cowboys not signed Dak, then it would be like an unequivocal F. So, it is what it is. The Cowboys also tendered Antwaun Woods on Monday. So, again, nothing here is unexpected. Nothing here is shocking. Nothing here was unpredictable. Nothing here really is anything that makes anybody feel better. Antwaun Woods has, I think, stuck on with the Cowboys a lot longer than a lot of people thought he would when he initially joined the team. But when you consider the future of the defensive tackle position, is Antwaun Woods a really big part of it? If we're looking at the defensive tackles, the state of the group, state of the position group overall in 2021, like who are the two best defensive tackles on the Cowboys right now? Going into 2021, who were the two best? Because I think the answer might be Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore. And I mean that with no disrespect to Antwaun Woods. Antwaun is perennially underrated. That is true. Both things can be true. That Antwaun Woods is underrated and that the two best, and certainly the two that I think you want to invest the most in, that's probably the better way to phrase it, are Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore. It remains to be seen whether or not the Cowboys will bring back Gerald McCoy. There was obviously, some discussion over the last couple of days about Gerald McCoy having interest in returning to Tampa. Who doesn't want to go play for the Buccaneers these days? But we all kind of thought when Joe McCoy got hurt and then officially cut and officially released and all that stuff, that maybe he would return to the Cowboys. But if Joe McCoy does it, if Joe McCoy goes elsewhere, Tampa or otherwise, you're looking at a position group now that really has to now lean on Antwaun Woods, which, again, an underrated player, but you have to improve there, and the Cowboys haven't. They've let a lot of defensive tackles go in free agency, and that's been a really disappointing thing. And again, this turns into, not being satisfied with Antwaun Woods, and that's not what this is about. This is about the grander overall perspective here, and that the Cowboys just, they just kind of sit and chill on important things, and that's how they roll. The final couple of things that happened on Monday to get you caught up before we dive into Tuesday's Supreme action. The Dallas Cowboys bid adieu to the person who has played more games in the NFL in the history of Canadian-born players. That's right. After 16 years of service, the Cowboys said goodbye to LP Ladouceur, a really shocking turn of events. We floated out on Monday's recap video that we did here the theory that with LP being 2 games behind Jason Witten for the most games played in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, that perhaps, if you want to put your tinfoil hat on, the Cowboys said, nope, not going to happen. You're not going to get that record, LP. Best of luck. And I think that conspiracy theory is fueled by the fact that reportedly LP Ladouceur still wants to play. However, it is diminished by the fact that the Cowboys did bring in Jake McQuaid, the long snapper from the Los Angeles Rams, who has a history with John Fossil and, of course, Greg Zuerlein. So while I put some stock in, I don't have like GameStop level stocks, but I really want, if you've seen that documentary on Hulu, I really want to check it out, but that's a whole different thing. But I've got some stock in the LP Jason Witten conspiracy theory, but this does, you can make this make sense. You can make it make sense that the Cowboys, figured, hey, Jake McQuaid's available. He's younger. He's been to 2 Pro Bowls. He's got a lot of longevity. He's got a history with John Fossil. He is the man. And you look at the moves. We're talking about Monday's moves here. Obviously, we haven't gotten to CJ Goodwin yet, but Cedric Wilson being back, Noah Brown being back, Jake McQuaid now being in, John Fossil seemingly the person who's kind of getting all the fancy toys, so to speak, in free agency for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I'll call the net move at long snapper like a B+. It's not quite an A-, and I know that's maybe a little bit unfair to Jake McQuaid, but still, not bad. None of this is bad, but it's not super exciting. Finally, Monday, the final thing, Joe Thomas, special teams linebacker, and although really versatile linebacker in general, headed to the Houston Texans. The Texans have been surprisingly active in free agency, and I think people were stunned by this. But, hey, Texans doing everything they can to keep Deshaun Watson around, which is their prerogative, certainly. We did have a question before we move on to Tuesday's action about Demontae Kazee, I believe, here. Let's find this question. Looking for it here. Here we go. Kazee is a free safety. Demontae Kazee this is why he's interesting for the Cowboys. he has position flexibility. And that is something, I mean, like, that is the buzziest of buzz phrases at the Star in Frisco. If you've got position flex, if you can play more than one position, the Cowboys are all about you. And so the fact that Demontae can play free safety and play corner is something that makes him attractive. And again, his history with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., there's a lot there, a lot of meat on that bone, so to speak, in terms of Cowboys narratives. And we'll see how impactful that is if he ultimately ends up in Dallas. But again, we're almost all the way through Wednesday as we sit here live and still no action. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I know you probably are, Demontae Kazee has not left any breadcrumbs for us in terms of the people that he has followed on Instagram. Big bummer there. It's Instagram follow season, all right? It's the time of year where you're looking to see who dudes are following on Instagram, and unfortunately, nothing to really, bite off when it comes to players, thinking about the Dallas Cowboys. But let's move on to Tuesday's action. Chidobe Awuzie is now a member of the Cincinnati Bengals. Jeremy Johnson, by the way, says there will be movements, probably not big movements, but they always cover themselves before they draft. This is true. The Cowboys do generally, in terms of just literal, numbers, kind of protect themselves entering the draft. And it's smart. It's smart of the Dallas Cowboys and smart of any NFL team to say, okay, what are our needs? Let's fill those up, obviously, before we get to the NFL draft. And the Cowboys have a huge need at corner, which is exacerbated by the fact that ultimately, Chidobe Awuzie is now officially gone. So Chido, a member of the Cincinnati Bengals, and now the Cowboys' only two legitimate options, and I'm talking like just real people that are on their roster at cornerback, are Trayvon Diggs and Anthony Brown. So that's it. And we have said for months it would behoove the Cowboys to bring back one of Chidobe Awuzie or Jordan Lewis, and it's not going to be Chido. It still could be Jordan. We'll see about that. But, Chido headed to Cincinnati. And, by the way, Chido represents a potential future compensatory pick. I think we've lost track of grading things, but to get back on track there, this is kind of a flat B for me. Not, and I never understood that. Like, I went to a school that gave you number grades. I never understood the letter things, but a flat B, because I don't think the Cowboys wanted to overpay or seriously pay for Chidobe Awuzie. I do think that Chido still has elite potential. I think that Chido, as a physical specimen, is incredible, and that's why I think he would make an incredible cornerback. I certainly believed that, almost from day one when it came to him. He does potentially yield them a compensatory pick, so you've got that to factor in. That's why it's a flat B. And I think we're all, on the same page that we're hoping the best for him. But so Chidobe Awuzie headed to Cincinnati. We'll see what his future holds. But yeah, I mean, and again, this goes back to filling those holes, because right now, as noted, the Cowboys don't have a lot of options, numerically speaking, at cornerback. And with Chido gone, that again exacerbates that idea. They might very well draft Patrick Surtain or Caleb Farley with the 10th overall pick, but I mean, why not protect yourselves, right? Like, they do generally do that, but why not protect yourselves with elite talent? Like, why wait for the Nolan Carrolls and the Daryl Worleys of the group, right? Like, why not go get the elite is a stretch of a word, but the legitimate talent, right? Like, why not go get the legitimate talent? And if you do, and I mean, pick one, pick a name. There's a lot of names we've discussed over the last few months. Pick one of those guys. Just reach your hand into that bag and pull one out. Get that player, that proverbial cornerback X, re-sign Jordan Lewis, draft Patrick Surtain or Caleb Farley, and now you've turned what was definitely a huge weakness into not a strength, but into something you can be somewhat proud of, and into something that you can have, you can have some sense of security in. Jeremy Johnson says, totally RJ, corner is definitely now a priority now that Chido is gone. See, here's the thing. I think you could make an argument that corner was already the number one priority for the Cowboys. I mean, before Chidobe Awuzie left for Cincinnati. I've never had the chili there, by the way. I don't want to get into that discussion, but I hope Chido likes it. But now, see, like, here's the thing. Now you've really tipped your draft strategy, right? Like, now it's super obvious that corner is your, like, screaming need, because there was always this hypothetical that Chido could come back. And so, again, B for me, I might be persuaded to put this, in a B- sort of place. Cowboys fan 421, great username, says, let's get Patrick Peterson. Not opposed to that. Patrick Peterson would be a great option for the Cowboys. And that's not an elite option. Let's be very clear about this. Patrick Peterson today, in terms of who he is a great golfer, but not like an elite cornerback, but still far better. And people love to say, when you bring up Patrick Peterson's name in the Cowboys, well, sign him, play him at free safety. Why? Why play him anywhere other than corner? Like, do you know who the Cowboys have at cornerback? Play him at cornerback, and that's what I'm saying. Again, Patrick Peterson in this case represents the hypothetical cornerback X we talked about. You sign Patrick Peterson, you bring Jordan Lewis back. All of a sudden, you've got Patrick Peterson, Jordan Lewis, Trayvon Diggs, and Anthony Brown entering the NFL draft. You walk away with Surtain or Farley, and all of a sudden, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. And so in that sense, Jeremy Johnson says, I think I would rather have Sherman than Peterson if I had to go with either one. By the way, Richard Sherman has a podcast with Chris Collinsworth. I thought that maybe he would announce his team on the latest episode. They published an episode last night, Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. He did not. He just said that there was a couple of teams calling and asking him about prices and things like that. I'm fine with that. I mean, the point here is, there's nothing wrong with either of these ideas. And again, there's a number of ideas. And look, if it's Demontae, Kazee that you want to play at cornerback, fine, so be it. But not the best option, but that's truly the Cowboys' way. But so this about a B for me personally. Let's move on. CJ Goodwin, again, we're talking about Tuesday's action. We're getting you caught up because I know you're busy. I know you got things going on. I know maybe you didn't have time to sit on Twitter every day and Instagram and following all this stuff. We're getting you covered, though, by the way. We have a full tracker. If you didn't know this, at bloggingtheboys.com. You can visit at any time, and we have every free agent move, everything connected to the Dallas Cowboys right there. You can also follow us on Facebook. Go like us there. Follow us on Instagram, blogging.the.boys, or on Twitter at bloggingtheboys. I'm RJ Ochoa on both Twitter and Instagram, by the way, if you want to see pictures of my dog. But on Tuesday, the Cowboys brought back their special teams ace. This is an A+. This is an A+. There's no doubt about it. CJ Goodwin is John Fossil's now special teams superstar. We obviously saw what he did against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's the things that we don't see all the time. CJ Goodwin is one of those, like, this is a special box. I realize this, but he's in the Bill Bates has a neighborhood, right? There's a neighborhood of special Cowboys players that Bill Bates lives at the center of. He lives in the middle of the cul-de-sac, right? And he's got the basketball hoop out front. He's got the go-karts going around. I mean, the driveway's beautiful. The lights are beautiful at night. He's got the best Christmas lights when it's Christmas season. Jeff Heath has a house in that cul-de-sac. It's the first one. He was a very special player for the Dallas Cowboys and a special teams ace. CJ Goodwin is moving in. All right, CJ Goodwin is moving in. He might be next door neighbors with Bill Bates when this is all said and done. A special team star for the Dallas Cowboys. This is an A+. Special teams are so important. We haven't seen the Cowboys pay a lot of attention to them historically. And so, again, you get a new long snapper and you keep your special teams ace. You obviously, make a decision at punter. We'll get to that in just a moment. But this is an A+ for me. This is one of the only real A+ moves the Cowboys have made to this point. So congratulations to them, on that. Big honor here at Blogging the Boys. Ty Nsekhe, the Cowboys on Tuesday got a new swing tackle. And I maintain, I've said this, look, I'm not going back to stock. I'm not putting a lot of stock in either Terrence Steele or Brandon Knight. I do think that, they're still young players. They've got a lot of experience that's worth exploring, an avenue worth exploring, I should say. But the Cowboys now have a swing tackle option. They said goodbye to Cam Erving, and they got, themselves that compensatory pick probably, which is, again, amazing. And now they have a swing tackle, obviously in his 30s, obviously been around the NFL for a long time, an Arlington native. Look, you're obviously, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, under the logical assumption that neither Tyron Smith or Lyle Collins are probably going to play 16, maybe 17, if that ultimately does happen, games for you. So you need this depth. And so I like this move. I'm willing to say this is like a flat A. I really do. I think this is an A. It's not like a huge thing. It's not a flashy thing, but Tuesday was probably the best day the Cowboys have had overall in free agency. So they have, A+ CJ Goodwin, A, maybe B+ for Ty. These are needed things, but other things are needed too that the Cowboys are seemingly ignoring, which is frustrating. But also on Tuesday, we got word of a couple of different things I want to run through. Number one, Andy Dalton headed again to the Chicago Bears. All the best to him. Future compensatory pick. Thank you very much, Andy. Appreciate it. Good luck. Tell Mitchell Trubisky we said what up. Tell Sloan I say what up if you're an Entourage fan. But also, the Cowboys, look, this was super obvious too. And again, this isn't something that we're geniuses because we thought this would happen, but it was super obvious that the Cowboys were going to have interest in Keanu Neal. It was reported that the Cowboys are among the teams, lots of them. I believe the Jets and the Vikings included in this list that ESPN's Justina Anderson had on Tuesday. It makes sense. It makes sense that the Cowboys are going to look into Keanu Neal because, again, the Dan Quinn situation. So not really a grade for this, but, congratulations to the Cowboys for being interested in somebody that it was very likely they were going to be interested in. Something I think we need to make a personal plea for, and let me know what you think in terms of Adoree Jackson. I wrote about this on, what's today, Tuesday, Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. I wrote about this on Wednesday at bloggingtheboys.com. On Tuesday, the Tennessee Titans released cornerback Adoree Jackson. Now, if you did not know, in 2017, the Titans took Adoree with the 18th overall pick. 10 picks later, the Cowboys did not take T.J. Watt. They took Taco Charlton. Yes, we're all still pissed off about it. But the Cowboys loved Adoree Jackson. Jerry Jones loved Adoree Jackson. So when you the compensatory formula that can help, obviously, your secondary in Adoree Jackson and even your return game in Adoree Jackson, why not do it? So ultimately, go get Adoree Jackson, Cowboys. That's, an important thing here. Dallas Cowboys on YouTube says, RJ, hey, what's up? RJ, we are being impatient, but don't you think we should have had a defensive tackle, a safety, and a cornerback by now? It's maddening just sitting here and watching other teams get better. Yeah, I do. That's what I'm saying. Go sign Adoree Jackson. Let's move on to Wednesday's line of action here. Now, this has been kind of weirdly the slowest day for the Cowboys, honestly. And I want to make sure everything's good here. Let's look over at Twitter. Nothing is on fire. No big news. Nothing to report. But we do have some NBA news if you care. We got a Woj bomb. The Houston Rockets are trading PJ Tucker to the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, look at that, Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to win this NBA title. I believe in them. But let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get back on track. Look, I've heard the phone buzzing this whole time. I wanted to make sure. You never know what's going to happen. The NFL is crazy, but so is the NBA. So anyway, Chris Jones, Dallas Cowboys punter extraordinaire, was released on Wednesday. Now, I had a tweet on Monday where I said that it was kind of shocking that LP Ladouceur was moved on from faster than Chris Jones. Chris Jones has been, frankly, one of the worst punters in the NFL for a while now. I mean, look, for a while. I mean, there was a point in time where Chris Jones was kind of underrated and was arguably somebody who should have been a Pro Bowler, but that was a long time ago. I mean, we're talking 2016. Chris Jones was kind of underrated. Obviously, had the great moment against the Lions and the puntisher stuff and everything like that. But it's been a rough go for Chris Jones. The Cowboys do still have Hunter Nicewander on their roster. Hunter, I believe, announced on his Instagram a few weeks ago he's expected to be a father. So congratulations to Hunter, and really impressed down the stretch for the Cowboys this past season. So this isn't shocking, and I hate to be a jerk about this, but this is an A. I mean, we've seen the Cowboys hold on to players that they shouldn't have held on to for a long, long, long time. And this might be easy to say and just kind of throw out, irresponsibly, but it does kind of feel like if these were still Jason Garrett's Cowboys, that Chris Jones would still be hanging around punting balls because, frankly, he was. So that's the situation. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with the Cowboys necessarily, but it kind of does. Kenny Golladay, still on the market, still available, still up for grabs as we sit here. Again, this is important to note if you are watching this later. It's your own time. Again, we know you're busy. It's currently 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday afternoon. So Kenny Golladay has two suitors. The New York Giants are among them. The Cincinnati Bengals also in on the Kenny Golladay sweepstakes. I think that would be awesome. I mean, if you're the Bengals, I don't know how you're not throwing the kitchen sink at Kenny Golladay. I know A.J. Green signed with the Cardinals. Cool. But look, if you're the Bengals right now, we talk about this all the time. You have you have the rookie contract window with Joe Burrow. The time is now. If you were the Cincinnati Bengals, go get your QB, a legitimate weapon in Kenny Golladay, somebody who you can throw jump balls to all the time. He'll go get him. He'll snag him. It'll be awesome. But the New York Giants are interested. And you know what? This sucks. I don't believe in Daniel Jones, but I know, and you know, that Kenny Golladay is really good at those 50-50 jump balls. And that's the kind of pass that is really the only thing that Daniel Jones can do successfully, throw it up and hope his receiver is awesome enough to go get it. And it is frustrating to consider that we just spent 10 minutes, you and I, right here around the campfire, talking about how the Cowboys aren't doing anything to fix their secondary. Meanwhile, the Washington football team has gone out and gotten Ryan Fitzpatrick, and not that that's, got me shaking in my boots or anything, but, I mean, the point is Washington is investing resources to improving their passing game. Meanwhile, the New York Giants are interested in what might be the best wide receiver in the free agency class. And so it's it's got me pissed off that two division rivals are out here looking to improve their passing games while the Cowboys are just sitting and chilling and relaxing all cool. It sucks. Go do something, Cowboys, because Kenny Golladay has an offer from the New York Giants and might be in your division sooner rather than later. The only thing that's working for them is that the aforementioned Jason Garrett would be the dude coordinating this offense, and you can't rely on that forever, only for like 10 more years. But I digress. Let's kind of revisit this situation here. Here is everything that has happened to the Dallas Cowboys as we sit on Wednesday afternoon. Happy Hump Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you and yours. The Cowboys have made two additions. Jake McQuaid, the long snapper, in for LP Ladouceur, who is technically a departure, although he doesn't have a new team quite yet, and have a new swing tackle seemingly in Ty Nsekhe. Goodbye to Cam Erving, Joe Thomas, Chidobe Awuzie, Andy Dalton, and Chris Jones. We wish you well. We wish you happiness, prosperity, and peace. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have brought back Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson, Antoine Woods, and CJ Goodwin. What's your grade, Cowboys, or what's your grade, RJ? What have you given the Dallas Cowboys overall? C+. Yeah. I want to give them a better grade. I do. I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to look at this big old C here. All right. This isn't a good looking thing. All right. I want to give the Cowboys an A, but I can't give them an A because, look, I get it. I understand that our expectations should not have been high. I know. And I had a similar kind of speech about this in Tuesday's recap video that we did. But here's the thing. All right. The Cowboys should have seemingly learned a very important lesson in all of the Dak Prescott situation fallout, if you want to call it that. They got the deal done, all right, and they deserve credit for that. But what you should have learned, in fact, let's use a Jerry Jones quote himself. That's who's in the graphic right here. In the press conference that the Cowboys did that went on for an hour and 45 minutes last week when they announced Dak Prescott's deal to the world, again, good for them, they got the deal done. Jerry Jones literally said that when you try to pay a bargain for something, that's typically what you're getting, right? Like if you're trying to pay less for something, you are generally getting a lesser product. Look, I know you're really good at bargain shopping. You go, I don't know, maybe you go to the outlets, maybe you cut coupons, maybe there's that show on TLC where people like cut all the coupons and they get like $300 worth of stuff for like $4. Maybe that's you, maybe that's somebody, maybe that's the Cowboys. Like that's a thing, but like you can't. Every year the Cowboys think we're gonna find the one. That's it. We're going to find the one. We're going to find the one free agent that we can pay nothing for and we can ultimately turn into a superstar. It didn't work the last 20 years, but it's going to work now. It's going to work now. Israel says, RJ, I love your show. Love from Corpus Christi. What's up, 361? I love Corpus Christi. That's where my dad's from, actually. Shout out to the original Whataburger, of course. But you're not going to be the one. You're not. You're not. Like, this is... The Cowboys are like I don't even know what they're like. But, I mean, the point is you're not going to be the one. Just like Dak Prescott, if you want a premium quality player, like you wanted a premium quality quarterback, guess what? You got to pay a premium price. That's what this is. You got to pay a premium price. And right now, you're not paying a premium price. Right now, you're sitting and you're chilling. And one of the worst defenses, not just in the NFL last year, but literally in the history of this game. All right, 2 years ago, every NFL player on the collar here had a 100 logo that celebrated 100 years of the National Football League. Remember at the Super Bowl when the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Miami Dolphins, there was that awesome commercial at the beginning where the little kid ran into the stadium after he had like run all over the world or whatever. That was awesome. And the whole thing was in celebration of the NFL having existed for 100 years. And last year's Dallas Cowboys defense was literally one of the worst in that whole span. And so, I don't know, maybe do something about it. That would be my suggestion, is do something about it. Who should the Cowboys sign, RJ? Pick a guy. Like, honestly, like, I'm not joking at this point. That strategy kind of would be more successful, right? There's a line. You're watching us on YouTube. We appreciate that. Please subscribe to the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. We're here all the time. We do live streams. We do lots of videos and film reviews and things like that. There's a great video that you should YouTube. You've probably already seen it before. A Cleveland Browns fan, I think this is 2007, is yelling at the stadium, calls it a factory of sadness. Again, you've likely seen it before. But he's all upset, if you haven't, because the Browns are losing and the Browns suck, right? Whatever. And he has a line that I think about all the time, just in a lot of ways in life, where he says, Do you realize it is actually harder to be this consistently bad than it would be for you to sometimes accidentally, occasionally be good? And like, that's this, right? Like, it is actually astounding that the Cowboys year in and year out continue to believe that this is going to work. Andre says the Cowboys' approach towards roster construction is awful. Can't be all about the draft or free agency. You need both. Agree with you so much. The Cowboys pro scouts are concerning as they have whiffed too many times free agents. Look, here's the thing. It is about both. And look, the draft is super important. Nobody's diminishing the importance of the draft. But you know what? Like, whatever you do in free agency, nothing happens to those 10 draft picks that you have. And congrats, you got 4 compensatory picks because you let certain free agents walk this past year in the offseason a year ago in 2020. But guess what? You can go sign Patrick Peterson, and those draft picks aren't going anywhere. Right? Like, you don't have to trade the draft picks for free agents. I mean, and that's the thing. The Cowboys do view it that way. They do view as, man, we don't want to give up that compensatory pick, though. Okay, cool. All right, like, put the compensatory picks in the trophy case then, because that's all you're beating everybody else at right now. Brandon says, I just want secondary help in free agency so we can pull the trigger on Pitts when he's there at 10. He's a true impact player worth a top 10 pick. Is that too much to ask? Brandon wants to see the Cowboys score some points, and I don't really disagree with him. Like, think about this for a second, and I know I've left this graphic up here. I'm not moving it, all right, because this deserves to be left up here. Look, Kyle Pitts is a real option, right, at 10 overall for the Cowboys, the star tight end out of Florida. By the way, Florida lost to Texas A&M last year. It must be said all the time. And here's the thing. If the Cowboys don't protect themselves in free agency, right, then they're sitting there at 10 overall, and say Patrick Surtain's gone, and you're debating between Caleb Farley or Kyle Pitts, right? Like, because, well, Kyle Pitts is the best player on our board, or we really need secondary help because we didn't really get anything in free agency. Number one, whose fault was that? Number two, that's how you make super bad decisions in the NFL draft. Think about last year. Thankfully, the Cowboys did not make that decision last year. Say the Cowboys had prioritized their positional need over the true best player available strategy, they would have had Kayvon Chase on instead of CeeDee Lamb. And I'm not saying that that's the future for either Caleb Farley or Kyle Pitts, but if you protect yourself, if you do your homework, if you build your team and your roster in the right way and you hedge all of your bets, so to speak, then when you get to the NFL draft and you are on the clock at 10 overall and Kyle Pitts happens to be there and he is the best player available on your overall board, then it makes complete and total logical sense for you to draft him. Right? Like, why not set up that hypothetical? It would be awesome. Right? Like, it's like saying, you know what? I'm not going to eat because I'm excited about my dinner. Well, why not eat right now? It's 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime, right? Like, it's lunchtime now. Your dinner will still be awesome later on today. Like, you're not, I feel like we used to do this when we were kids. Like, we'd be like, I'm not going to eat lunch so that my dinner is awesome. It's still just as awesome. You just have to endure the rough parts before you get to dinner. Like, that's something they don't tell you when you're 10 years old, all right? Eat the lunch. Get the free agent help now. It's still out there. There are still some players, and I know people are saying, look, there's still players. It's still possible. Let's see. My phone is buzzing, making sure nothing is happening, by the way. No, it all seems good. The PJ Tucker thing's going off. But eat the lunch. Get yourself some help. Thankfully, there is still some left. But don't think that you could just fleece everybody. The Cowboys can continue to try to outsmart the rest of the NFL. That's not working. That's not happening. All right. You're not playing chess when everybody's playing checkers. Everybody else is playing chess and you're playing Yahtzee. That's what's happening here. So C+ grade for the Dallas Cowboys in free agency is where I ultimately stand after Wednesday's action. We'll see what happens, of course, on Thursday, on Friday, whatever happens. I can promise you that we're going to have you covered at bloggingtheboys.com. Your home for the best Dallas Cowboys coverage on the internet. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at bloggingtheboys, on Instagram, blogging.the.boys. Like us on Facebook. Just search for Blogging the Boys. Subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. I've said it several times because it's the truth. We are here all the time, several times a week, doing live streams, doing videos, doing film reviews ahead of the NFL draft, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. And you know why we have fun? Because look, while this is all maddening and this is all frustrating, this is what we love. All right, this ties you and me together. This is why we lift all them weights, right? Like, this is what it's about. And so we're all frustrated, we're all upset, we're all hoping that things change. and maybe they will. But when and if they do, or if they don't, we will be here to talk, complain, or celebrate about it all. Do me a favor, have the absolute best Wednesday of all time. Have the best week of all time. Like, why stop at Wednesday? Just have a great week, right? Like, have a great week. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time.
Talking the boys.